Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Triple TC, that's the time traveling toy collector. And in this video, I'm super excited because I finally got my hands on something I've been trying to chase down for literally months. And I finally have him. It is the More Than Meets the Eye version of Studio Series 86 Perceptor. So it's essentially a not significant, but a minor, but not that minor, retool and mini repaint of Studio Series 86 11 Perceptor. So this is kind of 11A or 11 plus, I don't know, whatever you call it. We'll see what I call it in the title. You know before I do, in a timey-wimey way. You've read that before I've written it. Crazy. But yeah, so it's an update to Studio Series 86 11 Perceptor. And in order to justify the various bits, we've also been given two of the cassettes that appeared in the sequence in which Perceptor was perhaps most associated with in the Transformers 86 movie, which is the battle with alongside Blaster against Soundwave and his cassettes. So great to have him at last. He was a real nightmare to track down. I ended up having to get him through eBay, which is never my preferred way because aftermarket it sucks, as you will all know. But he was mint, he was sealed. I've taken him out to save time. But again, beautiful box. Love the box. But because I'm in the process of doing all of my displays, I ironically I haven't unpacked and brought back my original 8611 Perceptor. I've left a space because I knew I wanted this one. This is a more definitive version. So anyway, so I can't compare him to his former self, but I will bring out Studio Series 86 Blaster, which again is an update of the previous version of Blaster. Anyway, here we go. Here's the box. Now I have to say, this smuggling in this More Than Meets the Eye collection sort of subline within Studio Series, I don't really understand it. Seems to me to be an excuse for a bit of a money grab. Did I say that out loud? Yes. Well, that's what I think it is. But that said, if More Than Meets the Eye collection is going to give us better versions of previously released figures, and they're figures I haven't previously picked up, which has happened a couple of times, then hurrah. If it's just redecos of existing stuff, that's just probably going to be annoying. Anyway, the artwork for More Than Meets the Eye is different in its style. You can see this sort of almost, I don't know what you'd call it, what this style is, but it's very stylistic and very much different to what we see normally. This is not the cartoon accurate representations of the figures we're used to. So here we see Ramhorn looking, very not like himself. Perceptor in that similar sort of, it's almost anime, isn't it? It's almost an anime, but an altered anime version of this. And there's Ratbat at the back. I always loved Ratbat's character in the Marvel comic books. They gave him so much more depth. I think at one point, if I remember rightly, he took over the Decepticons as leader. So that says something about the guy. I've just killed Perceptor. So yeah, Perceptor, Ratbat, Ramhorn. A lovely big picture of Perceptor here reaching out to grab goodness knows what. Over here we have Autobot symbol lines, the side of Perceptor's artwork, and on the back we have the obligatory product shots. There is Perceptor fighting off Ratbat, etc. in the sequence, and there's Ramhorn jumping to attack Ratbat. So that's your logic for why we have these two cassettes in this set. Perceptor tells Blaster to radio for reinforcements. Absolutely he does. There's Perceptor holding two weapons that simply do not belong to him. Thief. And there he is in his microscope mode. And there's Ramhorn and Ratbat looking gorgeous. So that's the box. As I said, I've just killed Perceptor, so I feel bad about that. Before we look at Perceptor, let's just look at the cassettes. So the Decepticon cassette, Ratbat, one side is a real loser for me because it just looks like Ratbat with his wings folded in and his legs, which is, fair, to be fair, what the cassettes are. But it's just a bit apparently that. Whereas this side doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad, it's passable. Now, obviously, at the time of recording this, I don't have Studio Series 86 Soundwave, but I know he's coming in the future. And he is on pre-order, so I'm very excited. But I'm looking forward to having him, although for my display, I will be having them out in their robot modes. But here he is in cassette mode. And similarly, here is Ramhorn in his cassette mode. And I have to say, I do think the cassette mode for Ramhorn, and arguably to an extent Ratbat there, is a far, far better thing than we had with Steeljaw. So I don't know why they've upped the ante for it. And the same is true in his, from what I can see, for his robot mode. It doesn't look as jarring quite as Ramhorn. I could be wrong, as Steeljaw. We'll see. And then we have the main attraction. Now over here, I've just for the sake of storage, I've attached Ratbat's rocket pack here and Ramhorn's side guns and tail here, just for storage, and given Perceptor his gun. Now there are some significant changes to Perceptor from the first time around. The blue and the reds are, and I think people have talked about this already, so I don't want to over dwell on it. I'm just excited. I'm just letting you know excitedly that I now have, after months of trying to get it and convincing myself I won't, and getting it for a reasonable price. My goodness me, it was pretty much retail price. I was very, very lucky. So anyway, sorry, digression. I love the face here. Perceptor's face is very, very good. I got a real sense that this is Perceptor from the cartoon. I feel it, I see it, I'm happy for it. We've also lost the sort of translucent plastic segment here on his chest. The Autobot logo is now printed on a clear on painted plastic, as opposed to the translucent plastic we had with the original version. Again, that works really nicely. He is one of those characters that doesn't have too much surface detailing already, but just enough to sort of say he is a metallic robot machine living life form from another planet. We do still have some gaps in his forearms for transformation, which is a bit of a nuisance. We do have all the articulation you would want, though, at the price point. I say that there's no wrist articulation. Other than, you can move it in slightly for the transformation, but it's not really for that. We do have waist articulation, so we have that. It's very nice and stiff. We have hips, we have knee bend, we have rotation there at the thigh, we have ankle tilt there. So again, this is someone who can give us dynamic poses for days. So I'm very, very glad. And he's also nicely, as I say, he's very nicely stiff. So there's a lot of positives in this mold. The other thing that's really great is he doesn't have a great big open hole in his back. Previous Perceptor did. This guy now has a compartment, which is where his head will go round, which then will cover up his head. So again, another engineering update to the figure that I can only approve of. Okay. This still doesn't quite sit straight. My other one didn't either. I don't know why. It is adjustable. You can use it in terms of a weapon system. It can be aimed upwards. You can do all those things with it. There's no... I think there was translucent plastic in the last time. There isn't now. That's been either painted over or replaced with just filled in areas. But it definitely is not a workable microscope, and I think there's an element of me that's sad about that, because I never had G1 Perceptor. I was tempted to pick up the retro Studio Series one, but I never did. Not Studio Series, but the retro version of the with the film deco that they were doing a little while back. And maybe someday, somewhere down the line, if I see one, I might grab it. But the fact he turned into in the past a working microscope, I really liked that. That was one of those sort of things that I thought of, that's really good, added value. And it was a bit of a shame when we discovered that we'd lost that added value when it came to the new Studio Series 86 version of Perceptor. I'm just going to take these cassettes out of the way for a second, because as promised, I just want to bring Blaster in so you can see how Perceptor shapes up next to Blaster. And as you can, we'll take this out, we'll take the box out of the way so it doesn't cause you any issues with that. But you can see the two of them there, and I think they look quite good together. I mean, they're going to be positioned together in my display, but I think that really works. I think you've got two figures there that really complement each other nicely. I definitely think that as a duo they work really well. I'm so glad I got the Studio Series Deco Blaster. As I say, I'm really glad that I picked this up. It's a very nice solid figure. You can see none of his parts are jiggling about unnecessarily. Nobody likes it when their parts start jiggling about, do they? Let's be honest. But I think as a duo, I'm really excited. I'm really excited for having these in my display. So I'm glad that I persevered and got this. I'm also just going to demonstrate quickly with, we know we can open up. It's always tricky when he's in there. Let's just take out you for a second and pop in. So here we've got Ramjet. Ramjet? Who's no? We definitely haven't got Ramjet. Here we've got Ramhorn. Sorry, he's a bit of a tight fit, but I just want to see if he. Yes, he does. So Ramhorn does fit inside Studio Series 86 Blaster's chest. Oh, actually, and opens much freer than his counterpart, so that's good. I'll try him with Ratbat. I don't know that Ratbat necessarily would even want to get. No, Ratbat doesn't want to go in that way. How about this way around? They do seem to be a bit finickety. Ratbat's not up for it by the looks of things. Oh, maybe he is. Yeah, Ratbat's gone in. And he comes out. I had a horrible feeling that he was going to get rammed. But no, that's good. Let's not leave you hanging about. Fantastic. So that's Perceptor in his robot mode, and the two cassettes who we saw have a little tussle in the film. I will now just click off so that I can transform the cassettes and Perceptor, and I will be back in seconds. It gives you an opportunity to like the video if you haven't already, and if you're one of those people who's watching but haven't yet subscribed, please do. It really helps me. It helps me get to my next subscriber milestone. I set them for myself just to give me a bit of oomph and enthusiasm and motivation as I see myself hit them, and the only way I hit them is great people like yourself clicking that subscribe button. So it costs you nothing other than a quick click. You're not obligated to watch anything you don't want to watch. But who knows, you might find more stuff. If you're enjoying this and it's up your street, there's definitely going to be more stuff for you to find and enjoy. Anyway, if you do, that's fantastic, and I'll be really grateful. Let me know in the comments and I'll come and thank you. If not, no problem. I will see you any second now once I've transformed Perceptor. So please don't touch that dial. Okay, and so we are back with Perceptor now in his microscope mode. First of all, though, we will take a look at Ramhorn. I think Ramhorn looks fantastic here. He looks so much better, and I can't even tell you why he looks better. He just looks better than Steeljaw, and I honest to goodness, I don't know why. I think the transformation isn't hugely different to his, but there's just something that's just that bit better. Now, of course, he does have this part which is not integrated. You have to attach it as it's a sort of standalone weapon for Perceptor, presumably also Blaster. You can angle him up and down a bit, which is lovely. His head, he's got some minor feet adjustments. You've got Ratbat over here. Now, Ratbat, I love the coloration here in Ratbat. Look at that face. It's like a vampire rat bat. But it's fantastic. The purple that's there. You've got, I'm going to try and zoom in so you can see it, like an almost microscopic Decepticon logo on his chest there, which is, it really is something. Let me just try and get there you go. So he's got his backpack on there, which again just attaches, it just tabs in, really. It's slightly in an odd position because it puts the boosters below Ratbat's little Ratbatty feet. You can slightly adjust the wings for, expressive behavior if you wish. Again, I just think he looks great. I think his head sculpt is terrific. I think it's just I think it's a repaint of the previous War for Cybertron Ratbat, I believe. I don't think it's a phenomenal retooling. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments. But that's what I think. But you know what? I don't care. I really like it. I think it's, and I think the mechanical detailing on the interior here of the wings, his physical structure, I think the coloration is brilliant. The purple, the metallic black, I mean the lilac, the two shades of purple on his head is just beautiful with those red eyes. Absolutely gorgeous. And I think I'm going to try, I'll do a photo for the closing of this one. But I'll try and do it where he's Perceptor's in robot mode and we've got Ratbat on his shoulders, and I'll try and use a stand to see if I can get, well, it probably won't look brilliant, but for comedy value, I'll try and put it in. And here we have Perceptor. Perceptor holds together really well. We know he has his sort of rolling light tank mode, but that isn't, for some reason, that isn't shown in the this version of the instructions, presumably because he doesn't, well, I was going to say because he doesn't do it in the film, but you know, he didn't do it in the film when it was Studio Series 86 the first time around, and that was included. He holds together well. He still feels really light. There is a, you know, this isn't really a criticism I'm laying at the door of the figure or Hasbro or anyone else, but he just feels really light. He actually somehow feels lighter, and please don't say mass shifting in the comments, but he does feel lighter in this mode than he does in robot mode, which is a bit weird because there's no difference really to it. It just feels a bit lighter. I don't know how else to describe it really. Whereas he feels robust and posable and dynamic, you don't really notice that he's quite a light figure, I guess, because he's quite, as I say, robust. But here, because it's quite slight, it is just what it is. It's a microscope mode that you can't really use as a microscope. And it just, I suppose, so the attention is pulled away from the playability factor, and you can sort of go, oh, it's quite a light microscope. But again, it's a minor nitpick. You can adjust his scope element here. This is now, as I mentioned before, no longer translucent plastic. The Autobot logo is now also replicated on his chest, on the front part of the microscope, so you can see it's also on there. So it is in two places. You don't just have to look through a plastic window. Everything is nicely filled in. There's no gaps. There's no visible head syndrome now due to that panel work. All the rest of the transformation is exactly as it was. There's some minor adjustments. It feels like there's some minor adjustments around the arm sections fitting in there, but not really. But yeah, I always like Perceptor. I've always wanted a Perceptor, so when I got the Studio Series one, I was super excited. But I think it's a novel choice that they've given us this with the two cassettes. I get that we're getting a ton of cassettes with Soundwave, so we had to get Ratbat out of here somewhere. I'm going to be honest with you. I think the one thing that I'm disappointed we don't have in this set is the second speaker, the gold speaker that I know Blaster uses as handheld weapons, but we got the one with Steeljaw, and the implication being we were going to get another one, perhaps with Ramhorn if he was being released solo. Now, they may have plans for it somewhere. I really hope so, because at the moment it's a bit like, you know, gaping holes in your Studio Series 86 numbering. Very, very annoying and utterly avoidable, you know, proper irritating. But it could have come with these two, because it ties into that battle, and so tenuously with Blaster. It could have been an accessory for Ramhorn, even though maybe he can't have it attached to him, although maybe he could have. But even if he couldn't, it fits in with the Blaster connection. So I'm a bit disappointed they didn't give us everything they could have given us. I think we're getting I think they're calling it sleep mode, but I think we all know what that really means. Version of Optimus Prime somewhere down the road in Studio Series. So I'm hoping we can perhaps actually set this up for that particular situation. Maybe we can pull that out of the way as and when we are undertaking that piece of medical scanning. But yeah, I love Perceptor. I really like these two these two cassettes, they're far better, in my opinion, than Steel Jaw. Steel Jaw was a bit of a absolute car crash, unfortunately. But I love that I've got them. Thank you so much for sticking with me while I was just sort of showing off my Hague folks. I finally managed to pick them up. It's bonkers, but I'm happy about it. I'm so pleased that you stuck around till the end. Please check out other videos. As I've mentioned, please subscribe. You can also check out my Patreon. There is a few exclusive things there. Don't worry, there is a totally free membership you can join. It's not a cash grab. I'm not a toy firm. I'm not a cash grabber. There is a totally free membership tier where you can access pretty much everything that's there. There is a low, it's as low as I can make it before they won't let me charge lower tier, which provides access to some exclusive videos and photo shoots and behind the scenes stuff, which may be of interest to you. But just so you know, all of the funds raised through that go into purchasing things for the channel. So it's not like it's because I'm not anticipating I don't think I'm going to be making millions of it, but it's just my way of, you know, if people are happy to support the channel, then what they're supporting is the channel. The money from that will go into future purchases, and goodness knows I've got plans for lots of future purchases, and anyone that wants to help me pay for those through Patreon, I'm forever in your debt. Literally and figuratively, technically. Anyway, in the meantime, thanks so much for watching. I've been the Triple TC, that's the Time Travelling Toy Collector. This has been Studio Series 8611X Perceptor from the More Than Meets the Eye variation of Studio Series. This is Ramhorn, this is Ratbat, this is beautiful. And it just remains for me to say that things of beauty really are toys forever. Take care. Bye-bye for now.